Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're planning to do some videos, so you start scrolling online. And suddenly you're looking at people who are doing exactly what you plan to do. And they're doing it in your industry and they're talking to your niche. And you're thinking to yourself, what's the point? It's the comparison trap. And today we're going to talk about how to get out of it. Welcome to Show Up and Be Seen. I'm Valerie McTavish, sharing insights and inspirations to help you get more visible so that you can increase your impact and grow your business. Joining me on the show today, I'm so excited to welcome Rosalyn Fung. She's an Akashic visionary life and business soul coach. She's also a 2-time best-selling author, and this is kind of important for today's topic, a former psychologist. She gave it all up to work online with people who she is drawn to and is magnetized to attract. Welcome, Rosalyn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Val. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be jamming on this topic with you.
Yes, I am really excited because I love to showcase female entrepreneurs who, when someone looks at them, might think, oh, she doesn't have any challenges with visibility. She's got it going on. She's super comfortable on camera. She doesn't know my pain, right? But I know that in your history, you have had these struggles. And today you even still sometimes have to fight through the mud to get yourself visible. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you've faced in the past with getting visible. What did it look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, it really was about the fear of judgment. Like, if I put myself out there, or am I going to sound stupid? Will I look like a fool? Will people get what I'm saying? Will I even make sense? And well, like if I, that Val, like sometimes we like have these little quirks and they're kind of like our weird thing and it's our total comfort zone. But also we're like, but I have to be professional, quote unquote. And I don't think I should show that part of me because that's not quote unquote professional. And so it takes so much energy to not be yourself and hide these authentic parts of you. And I realized like, oh my gosh. And one day it just kind of slips out. And then that was the thing that people were like, I see you. I'm like that. I do those things. Hey, and that's how you start magnetizing. But oh my gosh, I remember the first time I went on a Facebook Live years ago, and I was like sweating buckets. I noticed my heart rate was palpitating, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And Val, I speak on stages, like no problem. But to get on a Facebook Live for some reason...
I hear this
all the time. Same with my clients as well. And they're like, I don't know why. Like for some reason, and I don't know if it's something about the permanency or it's not an official stage, but it's just like, all right, here we go. I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And literally my first Facebook Live was, this is my first time doing something and I'm a lot scared. And that's what I did. I just went on. I said, this is my first time being on camera here live. I don't know who I'm talking to, which kind of freaks me out. But I know somebody needs to hear this message or see me show up so that I can inspire you to show up. And then that just broke the seal. And so many people were like cheering me on, saying, thank you for this message. I needed that support. And that's the amazing part is just when you get out of your own way and you show up and you share your message authentically and unapologetically, your people start to magnetize towards you.
Yeah, I love that as a tip too, because I think that's so critical that you can show up authentically and honestly and be transparent about how you're feeling about it. You don't have to be like, hey, here I am, I'm all that, right? I got it all going on. You can just show up for real.
Yes. And I feel like, Val, that would be another belief is that if we show up, all of a sudden we are going to look like we're bragging. We're going to look like we're better than others. And all that. I don't want to come across as conceited. I don't want to come across as bragging. And to be honest, I still have that.
Yeah, but this is because you have it because this is the female conditioning, right?
That's right.
This is what little girls are taught. And this is how, how we used to bring up little girls versus how we brought up little boys. That is a huge difference, right? We were taught nobody likes a braggart. Nobody wants to be around someone who's conceited. You're not supposed to be full of yourself. You're not supposed to believe in yourself, right?
In fact, I was just going to say, like, there's studies that actually have been done on young girls and young boys. And they say around the age of, and it might have shifted a little bit, but around the age of 11, girls start to become to mute their voices and not say the truth. They did experiments where I believe it was like they ate a dish. And then if they didn't like it, they lied about it and said it was good, right? The girls did, but the boys were just like, it's gross, And so we start to lose our voices at such an early age as girls.
And it's no coincidence that it's right around puberty. Because our human nature is to, start to think about attracting a mate, a partner. It's the conditioning, it's the societal conditioning that tells us that the ideal mate or partner is someone who's going to demur, someone who's going to people please, someone who's going to, hold in what they really think so that they don't upset or offend.
And then can I say there are consequences too for women showing up. I mean, at every single level. Unfortunately, it does happen that there can be cattiness that happens. But let me tell you, audience, this. Confidence comes across as bragging and being conceited to the insecure. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Confidence, when you show up confidently, that's going to come across to people who feel insecure about themselves as seeing you as being conceited and seeing you as bragging when that's not what you're doing at all. So people project their stuff on you.
And this is exactly what I wanted to talk to you today about, because what you're saying is how the comparison trap starts to exist, right? Because it's our own insecurities that get us looking at what other people are doing, that get us measuring up against other people, that get us feeling lesser than because we're different, or because we're doing it differently, or because someone else is successful and confident and, sharing their success openly.
Yeah.
And that's what, it's that exact piece. So we can be almost on both sides of it at the same time. Even when we do have some confidence, we find ourselves comparing ourselves to others. So let's take the old Rosalyn psychologist out of the box for a second.
I still use it very much in my business, actually. So it's a foundation. You never left me.
Right, exactly.
The license anymore. So much more freedom.
Right. Yeah. But let's talk about why do we do that? And what's really going on for us when we find ourselves caught in that, looking at what other people are doing and comparing ourselves? Is there value to it, or is it always going to end up with, a negative impact on your self-esteem?
Well, I want to start with, and I'm sure we've all heard this before, the cliche, comparison is the thief of joy. Where your attention goes, energy flows. So if you are focused on someone else's success, you're focused on how someone else is showing up, you're focused on their results, that somebody, now I should say, somebody who is in the same niche as you, okay, who does what you do. Okay, when you're focused on that, what are you doing back to yourself? What are you saying back to yourself? Oh my gosh, I could never be like that person. Oh my gosh, they're already getting the results. Like, how can I be like that? It's like, there's no way. Like, we all of a sudden get triggered into a not good enough place. And sometimes we get triggered into jealousy. The opposite of jealousy is being happy for somebody. But when you're so in this place of not good enough and feeling insecure, we can't be happy for someone else. It's really hard. Okay. And so we need to take away the judgment in good or bad. Those are judgments. And so we need to bring in the focus back on ourselves and remember that your superpower is the alchemy of who you are, meaning nobody else is you. So the experiences that you have, the educational background, your own stories, your personality, your strengths, your passion. When I am personally looking at hiring coaches, I will literally look at coaches obviously in the same niche. And what draws me is the alchemy of who they are. If, let's say results are comparable, business models are comparable, but one I'm feeling more drawn to because of how they show up, how they deliver, the words they use, the language, and they're a bigger investment than the other one. I will invest in the coach that I resonate more with, even if it's more money, because I'm going to take it in more. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to create results faster because they resonate so much with me.
This is such an important piece because, and I know you have a t-shirt like this. It says, "I'm not for everyone."
Yes.
And we have to accept that that's true because of exactly what you said. And that is that when you display who you really are and you take advantage of all the things that have created who you really are,
yes,
there is no comparison. There is nobody else like you. And that means that there are going to be some people who will choose that other person that they see online or who will decide to go a different direction. And that's okay, because we need to be working with the people who get who we are, because they're going to get better results.
1,000%. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that, is that I like to say, if you are not polarizing people, you're not showing up bold enough as you. And what I mean by polarizing people is exactly what you were saying, Val, is there are people who are going to be like, "No, Roz, you are so not my person. You're like too much me, you're too woo, whatever." And then there are going to be people who are just like, "Oh my God, I love how woo you are. And you have a business background and you're a psychic. I freaking love this." Those are my people. And that's totally okay. It's not personal. Val, I know your audience will appreciate these stories. So I have had clients, I can count about 4 clients who have told me that, and this is after hiring me, they'll be like, "Okay, I have to admit something." I'm like, "What?" "I have to say, I could not stand you. You freaking triggered me." And I'm like, "When?" And they would say 2 years ago. I'm like, and it was when you were speaking on stage. So I didn't even know them back then. I had no idea, or maybe we were Facebook friends and they were too triggered by my content. So then they admitted, because it's not personal, they admitted, "The things that you were sharing, I realize now from, of course, a personal accountable perspective, I realized I wasn't ready to hear what you were saying about self-worth, about being bold, about showing up, because I felt like that was being conceded." And so that right there is polarizing people. You are either people will repel, maybe they won't come back, but some people are triggered because you're triggering their own stuff. You're holding up a mirror for them. And if they are ready, like I had one client who literally was so triggered, but she's so spiritual. She takes a level of radical personal and spiritual accountability. She knew exactly why she was triggered. She knew it was her stuff. So she didn't even think about it. And she hired me right away. And we just did a VIP program together, and she had a 15K launch. So it was incredible. But that's the power of taking personal accountability.
Exactly. And I love what you said, that, this person was polarized by you because of what was going on for them. And yet, 2 years later, they're still in your world. They're still paying attention because somehow deep down they knew that what you were serving up was a bit of a mirror for them, right? It was something that they had to face. So this is, I think, what I was getting at when I said, like, the good side of the comparison trap is to be aware enough of what's going on when you start down that path of comparisonism and you're struggling through it. That's when you need to step back and say, what's going on here, right? What's going on inside me that is causing me to feel lesser than, right? What do I have to work on so that I don't have, any kind of scarcity around there being room for everyone?
Yes, exactly. And if we can go deeper on that, Val, it often is related back to you being a little girl, to a time when you felt like, and when I work deeply with my clients, like I said, I still bring in the psychology and I bring in very much subconscious work with my clients. And the quickest way I do that is experiential, so somatic through the body. And often the themes that come up are a time when they were young and they were shining, little girls like, like here I am. And with usually not with intention, but somebody, usually a parent or an adult, a caregiver, shuts them down, or peers shut them down. So it could happen multiple times, could have been one big moment, doesn't matter, but that's called developmental trauma. And we form core beliefs before the age of 8. So when these experiences happen, we make meaning of them as young children. And we mostly live in our subconscious, our emotional brain, because the conscious, logical, high functioning part of our brain is still developing. And so all of this trauma is stored in the body. And if we haven't done our inner work, or, hey, I continue to do my inner work to this day, and I still get triggered in different ways because, new level, new devil. But, that's where it's like really, really important to explore the depths of where and the root of where all of this is coming from, because at the end of the day, it is about our relationship with ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is not about those people you're comparing yourself to. I love this conversation. I know we could probably talk for an hour like this, but what I want to do is I want to keep this consumable for everyone so that they can take some real deep takeaways from this. And we've talked about some pretty heavy stuff, some long-term work, some inner work. What can you share about how someone can actually start this process if they've never gone down the road of dealing with their own sort of perceptions, their long-held beliefs? What process can they take?
Well, the first step to change is self-awareness, right? If you don't like something, because everything is neutral until you put meaning to it. And how we do that is based on our belief system. So an easy, I should say simple, but not easy, way to start is start journaling on, okay, so this person or this thing, if we're looking at comparison theory, is making me feel insecure, making me feel like I'm not good enough. But let that thing, that person, be a teacher for you, because life is happening for you and through you, not to you. Okay. And you are not a victim to your circumstances. So the first thing is sit down and journal about how do I feel? First of all, acknowledge and honor your feelings. No feelings are bad. Number 2, then look at, I would say journal, make yourself journal on the question for like at least 5 minutes. Okay. Because you get through the surfacey answers and then you go deep and you'll probably start crying because when you cry, you may or may not, but when you touch the depths of your truth and touch the roots of where this comes from, you're acknowledging your little girl. And so the question is, why do I feel this way? When did I feel this way? What happened? What other situations have made me feel this way. And you start noticing the patterns, okay? Because it's the same pattern, different stories that happen in your life. And so you're going to honor that. And what happens is you give it less power. Now you're really clear what the root is. And now you can change that belief.
Right. Absolutely. This is so powerful, Roz, and I am so grateful for you for sharing this. I want to say, if this feels overwhelming to you, just take it step by step and take Roz's advice. Notice those triggers. That's step one. Then get curious and write them down. These are really powerful tools that seem like, and they are, something simple that you can do, but it is going to take some time. It will add up to you increasing your confidence. It will add up to you improving your self-love. It'll add up to you being able to get visible for your business. And, Roz is a perfect example of what happens when you do. When you do the work and you get comfortable being visible and you tap into your superpower, the alchemy of who you are, that's when you can actually start to really show up for your business. So, Roz, thank you so much. Now, I know you have a ton of amazing resources. So what I'm going to do is put links in the description so that people can find out more from you, connect with you, and hopefully go a little bit deeper into what we talked about today, because there's so much more. This is a very deep ocean.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Me too. Thank you, love.
So I shared my takeaways from my chat with Roz, and I would love to know what yours are. Please share them in the comments below, because there are so many little nuggets that were hidden in our conversation today, and I would love for you to share them so that nobody else misses them. So please share those in the comments below. And remember, you got into business to help people solve their problem. You can't do that if you stay hidden. So show up for them, show up for your business, and show up for yourself. We'll see you next time.